everyone. This is Andrea Kennedy, and with each slide, just click on the speaker and listen. I look forward to lesson 1 and thinking sustainably together this semester. Move to slide 2, please. So welcome to Unit 1, where you have 2 chapters in the book to read. As well, you should now click on this link, if you haven't already, and watch Annie Leonard and the Story of Stuff. Annie Leonard is one of my before anyone else's, and I hope you dig her too. Start this slide, after you've watched all 22 minutes of the Story of Stuff. What did you think of the movie? Doesn't she tell a story in an amazing way with visuals and words? And as we'll learn later in the semester, visuals always tell your message better than words. And I think she really succeeds in that. What do you think? What about some of the terms that she talks about, like perceived obsolescence, planned obsolescence, and externalized costs? You have a DB due this week where you need to respond to all 3 of those terms. So start thinking about that. What really surprised you in the movie? List some facts. You'll need them for the quiz. Let's move on to slide 4. Another thing Annie Leonard in the Story of Stuff discusses is linear supply chains and the linear model that ends in waste, which is the way we have been producing for the last 40, 50 years. There have been changes, but for the most part, everyone is still creating coffee pots, bowls, clothing, shoes, handbags, picture frames, eyeglasses, all kinds of products that end in waste and start by extracting from nature. What happens with the production of goods is nature is the source of all materials, and nature is the sink for all waste. Think about that. Think about how Annie talked about having unlimited economic growth with limited resources. How can that continue? And what do you think is the part of the system that can change today's patterns of production and distribution and of consumption? Who's responsible in your opinion? Who has the power to change? I would love to know what you think here. And also, think about who are most affected by the way that we design, develop, produce, and distribute today. Who and what are affected? Those are the thoughts I leave you with as we move on to slide 5. If the way we've been producing is linear, then how can we change the system to support sustainability, to support environmental justice, to support social justice, and to support economic justice? What is the better system? What did Annie speak about? If you didn't get to that part of the film, go watch it again and think, how can we make this change? What should we be using in terms of resources? Let's move on to the next slide. Sorry about the phone call. So now that we have you thinking of the opposite of linear and of the future, I want you to really think a little bit further in the future. Go 30 years to the year 2050. I want you to imagine what your life will be like then, what you'll be doing, and assuming you're going to be working somehow in fashion or some consumer product, in either marketing or business or product development or innovation or exploration or research or any other way, media, I want you to think of what that future will look like and create a very detailed vision in your mind. Now let's move to the next slide. Now you have that vision in your mind. Your assignment this week is to write yourself a letter from that future self of yours, from you in the year 2050, and tell yourself what life is like. You can alternately, if you don't want to write the letter, you can sketch out that vision either by hand, scan it in, or take a picture of it on your phone and upload it onto Blackboard as your assignment. Or you can write the one-page letter to yourself. If it's a sketch, show me what that future looks like. Be very specific. If it's a letter, tell me in words. Or make it a combination of both. And really think about what the future is like. That's what a vision is. Sustainable thinkers are visionaries. And this class is going to explain why we need to make these visions and how you're going to get there. So let's move on. Did you make your vision? Did you draw your vision or write your vision, or will you soon? The vision has to have a purpose. When we think about the future of our planet and of our industry, which in my case is fashion, and all of you who are going into the fashion industry, we need a clear vision of that future. That is the masterpiece that we are all molding together. And as Salvador Dali, the artist, often said, no masterpiece was ever created by a lazy artist. So if that vision is your masterpiece and you want to work towards it, you need to really work. We can't be lazy. We have to move it. And having a vision gives us our why. A vision gives us our direction. It shows us where we are going. It's our desired future. It's what we're working towards. And it includes what we believe is important and what we feel is hopeful and optimistic and valuable. And that's why we need a vision. We need a vision before we can make any goals. Think about if you were trying to lose a few pounds. You may not need to, but I do. I'm not just going to say I want to lose 5 pounds. That's my goal. But first I'm going to have a vision of me wearing a dress that I haven't been able to wear in 10 years because it's a smaller size and I haven't been able to fit in it. I vision myself wearing that to an event. And now I have to make that goal. I've gained about 8 pounds since I last fit in that dress. So now my goal is to lose that weight. So first you have a vision. Your vision is your why. Let's move on to the next slide. And remember, whenever you see my photo in the bottom right of a slide, that means you should listen and I'm speaking. If you don't see my photo on a slide, it just means you can read the slide or look at the slide and move on. No listening needed. Thanks. Back to visions and back to goals. A goal is a specific target to achieve something that you're working towards. A goal includes strategies and tactics and target dates that you will use to move toward achieving your vision. The vision comes first, then is your goal. The goal has to promote and align with your vision. And without a vision, a goal is self-defeating. You really need that larger why in mind. Sustainable thinkers are visionaries because we know the whys. We know why we have to become more sustainable. It's urgent in our world today that we change to ways that internalize cost, that are not planned to be obsolete, that do not create unlimited amounts for unlimited growth with our very limited resources. So that's why we need to understand our why. So let's move on. Why are we making visions? What has occurred in the recent past in fashion that has made us so urgently, so many people working in fashion today, working towards a vision of a fully sustainable future of fashion? Let's find out. This is why we need to create a vision so we can change the current impacts of fashion. It's true. Halloween is the largest single use garment occasion of the year. Maybe you reuse costumes or find something at a thrift shop, but most people buy costumes at a Halloween costume store, and those costumes that are for single use are generally made of synthetic fabrics, plastic on the body, which is polyester or nylon, but most of them are, as well as all the accessories and what the kids carry to collect the candy. It's the biggest wasteful night in terms of single use fabrics, garments, and food. You know what the second biggest occasion of the year is for single use garments? What do you think is the second biggest time of the year for single use garments? Think. Guess. What did you guess? Well, if you said prom, you're right. Prom is the single second biggest nationwide in the US occasion of single use garments. And a lot of those inexpensive fancy prom dresses are made of synthetic fabrics and they don't biodegrade. So, all of those impacts of fashion and other consumer products, whether it's cosmetics, electronics, home decor, all have similar impacts, are the reasons that today we need to work towards sustainability. What is sustainability, you ask? Sustainability is the ability to endure without interruption or failing for the long term future. Sustainability is when systems and processes are put into place that will be able to operate over a long period of time for longevity. Everything is linked. What we do, what natural resources we use, the ecosystems that are in nature are all linked. The more that we cut out of nature, the more systems in life get disturbed and die off. We just have to remember that everything is linked. So all of those impacts that we saw in terms of pollution, pesticides, air emissions are all linked. So we have the ability to change fashion to make all of those links more positive in terms of instead of negative. That's what we'll be working on for the next 6.5 weeks together after this week. So I look forward to reading and seeing your visions. I look forward to reading your thoughts on the story of stuff. I look forward to grading your quizzes, of which even some of the information from this slideshow and the readings and the viewing will be included. Thank you so much, and I'll see you again in week 2. Sustainably yours. Andrea Kennedy.